Do you want to go ahead and
ما أنا عملت هيدا.
segue? لا أنا بلشت.
أنت بلشتي؟
ما بعرف ما بتذكر. Okay, so our next text is called The Naked Blogger of Cairo, Creative Insurgency in the Arab World by Marwan M. Kredi. And, you know, if you were to judge a book by its cover, it would definitely go to this one because it's got a very cool sort of Marvel Comics-y cover, which is great. Easy to pick it out off of a bookshelf. It was published in 2016 by Harvard University Press. And it is divided, the table of contents is divided into 7 parts. I will not go through, each part has several subsections. I'm not going to go through the subsections, but I'll go through the parts. Part 1 is In the Name of the People. Part 2 is called Burning Man. Part 3 is called Laughing Cow. Part 4 is called Puppets and Masters. Part 5 is called Virgins and Vixens. And part 6 is Requiem for a Revolution? Question mark. Marwan Kredi is Anthony Shadid Chair in Global Media, Politics and Culture at the University of Pennsylvania. And I haven't read this specifically, but I would like to turn it over to my collaborators and see if they have.
There's a great set of reviews actually for Marwan Kredi, who I actually was just with him in Beirut at the NDU Notre Dame University in at a conference co-sponsored by NDU and ASI on social media, on various aspects of the controversies about fake news and quote-unquote extremism and so on and so forth. He was just reviewed, or he was reviewed, not just reviewed, in the Washington Post by Mark Lynch, and his review is a deep dive into the cultural politics of the Arab uprisings. Kredi's sharp insights and rich descriptions of a new Arab generation's irrepressible creative urges will amply reward the effort. Reading Kredi's accounts of the politically charted cultural gambits of wired Arab youth rekindles some of the seemingly lost spirit of the early days of the Arab uprisings and offers hope for the future. Another review by Michael Curtin starts, The Naked Blogger of Cairo is an astonishingly accessible work for one that is also deeply intellectual and scholarly. There's a lot of good reviews, but I'll stop here and see if others have comments. Guys?
I mean, I think those reviews you spoke about echo for a lot of people. I think Marwan's work, specifically in highlighting specific media personalities or personas, some real and some fictitious, was really an amazing way to talk about the uprisings and the kind of creative energy behind it. So it's a wonderful way to think about things in new ways.
Yeah, I mean, I just add that I think it works really well, perhaps as an unintentional response to a lot of the early, what you might consider kind of the shallow, superficial analyses of the Arab uprisings that was looking at youth culture and looking at social media, and looking a lot of the kind of the glitz and the glamour of the events that were happening and trying to cover it in the media the way that we saw. Without really adding too much beyond these kinds of these very superficial slogans about the role of youth or the role of social media. But with this text, I think we find that we have a really good, as Mark Lynch says, a deep dive into this subject, because there's really a pressing need to kind of respond to a lot of those things. So I would probably think of this potentially as a good pedagogical tool for students and people who are thinking about writing on this topic and not just kind of doing a basic Google search for, what were the articles that were published at the time that were talking about the role of youth in the uprisings, but actually finding a more in-depth scholarly work that addresses and treats the subject a little bit more diligently.
And with that, we come to the end of the, I don't know what camera to look at, and with that, we come to the end of the third segment. I hope that this was sufficient, although every time we talk about something, I feel like we should talk more, but we have to resist and restrict ourselves to this brief introduction so that we don't go over. We already went far over the limit that we had anticipated, so we will back, we will, that's, I did it again.
Time, yeah.
Nirja, we will back. I'm just translating. We will be back in just a couple of minutes. Shukran.